Right now at 6, school leaders say they are focused on helping the victim after 2 Middleton students are accused of sexual assault. After 5 UW patients are diagnosed with Legionnaire's disease, we're looking into how common it is and ways you can prevent the bacteria that causes it from growing in your home. Plus, using technology to heal things like paper cuts, why some local researchers think this bandage could change the medical industry.
This is News 3 at 6.
Well, we might be heading for a messy weekend with rain, freezing rain, and snow all possible as we take a live look at things both in Madison as well as in Platteville. We turn things over to meteorologist Dave Caulfield, who joins us with the very latest on what we can expect for the weekend, Dave.
Yeah, a lot of things possible over the next 24 to 48 hours, Eric, and it all depends on what this system that is exiting Kansas, heading into Nebraska, decides to do and what temperatures are, especially during the morning hours of Saturday and Sunday. That will play a big role, and just a few degrees difference can really be the biggest difference between just rain and seeing maybe some ice, especially on surfaces for southern Wisconsin. So we'll watch that very closely. Platteville is quiet on our Queen Bee Radio Skycam tonight. I don't think we'll have any problems. It's as we get into tomorrow morning that some tricky troubles could arise. Visibility has been down all day. We've kind of had this foggy setup in town, and that has kept temperatures down. We're down to 30 degrees in Madison, 34 in Janesville, 32 in Monroe, and right at the freezing mark as well in Lone Rock and Mineral Point. So tonight, temperatures staying right around 30 degrees. But again, as we wake up on Saturday, it will be very important, ground temperatures and road temperatures, to see what side of 32 degrees those are on. We'll explore all the possibilities for this weekend in your First Alert forecast in just a few minutes.
All right, Dave, thank you. 2 Middleton High School students are accused of sexually assaulting a classmate off school grounds. Our Keely Arthur shares more details about the alleged incident.
Authorities sharing more details on an alleged sexual assault involving Middleton High School students last week. 18-year-old Muhammad Aldashak is facing charges of second-degree sexual assault of a child. An unnamed 16-year-old was also arrested. Authorities confirmed that the 14-year-old victim is a freshman at Middleton High School. The alleged sexual assault happened on the night of November 21st. Authorities say the victim attended a basketball game here at Middleton High School. She was then picked up by one of the alleged suspects, who took her to a home in the town of Middleton where the alleged incident occurred. Middleton Cross Plains School District Superintendent George Mavrolis confirmed that Aldashak is no longer attending class at the high school, adding, "Our focus is on caring for the victim and her family. As a district, we strongly encourage our students to come forward anytime they see, hear about, or are a victim of an assault." Given the sensitivity of the matter, the Dane County Sheriff's Department, who is handling the case, declined an on-camera interview. Aldashak is set to appear in court Monday. In Middleton, Keely Arthur, WISC News 3.
Now, details on the other teen arrested were not disclosed since he is a minor. Police hope the public can help them find a Dodge County teen missing now for nearly a month. Beaver Dam police say 17-year-old Kirsten Duarte was last seen the 1st of November. They are asking anyone who has had any contact with her to call them. Madison police say a stranger tried grabbing a girl walking home from school. This incident happened along the 2100 block of Pike Drive yesterday. The girl told police the man asked her personal questions and grabbed her shoulder. The girl went home after the incident and told an adult about that experience. State health officials say it is a record year for cases of Legionnaire's disease. That's the type of severe pneumonia that 5 UW hospital patients were diagnosed with this week, suspected to be caused by hot water system issues. But there are steps you can take to stay safe. Our Madeline O'Neill joins us to explain. Maddie?
Eric, one of those patients was already seriously ill and died this week after being diagnosed with Legionnaire's disease, which is usually seen in people with low immune systems. It's caused by a certain bacteria, which can grow in your home under certain conditions.
It's a record pace, and it's not one that we're proud of.
Legionnaire's disease is more common than you might think.
It's not really rare.
That's according to epidemiologist Thomas Haupt at the Wisconsin Department of Health Services, who says Legionnaire's has become more prevalent over the years.
It is potentially 10% fatality rate for those people who come down with it.
In 2010, Wisconsin DHS data shows the state had 63 confirmed cases of the disease. That jumped to 160 in 2013
And now in November of this year, that number is approaching 300.
We've done everything we possibly can to try to identify sources of this.
Haupt says it's hard to trace the source of the disease, which is caused by a certain type of bacteria.
It's frustrating for everyone involved, including the patients and their families.
A hot water system at UW Hospital is the suspected source of 5 recent cases of Legionnaire's disease, which is spread by breathing in the mist of contaminated water. The way that water gets contaminated could be from the pipes in your home.
People probably don't think about the plumbing inside of their home all that often, but it really does impact water quality.
Madison Water Utilities' Amy Barrios says water going into homes and businesses is disinfected, but stagnant warm water in plumbing systems runs the risk of growing bacteria like Legionnaires.
Especially if you have one of those, extra bathrooms or something somewhere, just use that water in there, because when you turn on the tap after a couple months, that water's been sitting in that tap for a couple of months.
Why the disease is becoming more common nationwide is still unclear.
We're doing everything we possibly can. We're keeping an eye on things. It's just been an unexplainable year for Legionnaire's disease.
Haupt says the fact that UW hadn't had any hospital-acquired cases of the disease in 23 years before this week is a good track record, and there's no further risk to the public at this point. Now, with that being said, if you or a loved one were in the hospital for an extended period of time and came out with pneumonia, it is worth getting checked out.
Madeline O'Neill in our news center tonight. Maddie, thank you. Republican lawmakers are proposing putting limits on early voting during a lame duck session next week. The proposal would cut early voting in person by about a week, meaning you could only early vote starting about 2 weeks before an election. The plan would also move the date of the 2020 presidential primary from April to March. Senate Majority Leader Scott Fitzgerald has said moving that election date would help conservative Supreme Court Justice Dan Kelly keep his seat. But Dane County Clerk Scott McDonald says it would be costly, chaotic for clerks, and also confuse voters.
We barely get the ballot designed and tested and proofed from February, when we know the candidates are, onto the April ballot. When you put an election in between, what happens is the timelines all begin to overlap with each other.
During the lame duck session next week, lawmakers will also vote on plans to guarantee coverage for pre-existing conditions and provide road funding. UW System Regent Brian Stile plans to resign from his position once he starts his first term in Congress. He issued a statement today announcing his decision. Stile defeated Democrat Randy Bryce in the November election to fill outgoing House Speaker Paul Ryan's seat. Governor Walker will be able to appoint Stiles' replacement on the Board of Regents if he resigns before Governor-elect Tony Evers is sworn in January 7th. The Wisconsin Supreme Court has indefinitely suspended the law license of the man who defended serial killer Jeffrey Dahmer. Clients had disputed attorney Gerald Boyle's fees and said he failed to explain them. Boyle said this year that he couldn't properly defend himself against the complaints because he got sick after a 2017 surgery and was medically incapacitated. The High Court agreed with Boyle's assessment Friday and suspended the 82-year-old's license, allowing him to avoid sanctions. The UW chapter of Theta Chi fraternity is ending its time as a registered student organization. The group cited lack of due process regarding misconduct allegations, which included underage drinking and disregarding police warnings when a tailgate party got too big. Fraternity officials said none of the allegations brought against the chapter have resulted in any criminal charges. The university reacted to the separation, saying, quote, UW-Madison values all student organizations and holds them accountable to a code of conduct that requires them to operate safely and legally. The health and safety of our students and their guests is always our highest priority. Misconduct allegations are taken seriously and addressed through a fair process. The chapter says it will continue to be active in the community. Well, there's technology to park our cars, keep track of our steps. Well, now there's a high-tech option when it comes to healing, how this special Band-Aid works, and how local researchers share their hope for the device. That's next on News 3 at 6. When you accidentally cut yourself, it can take a week or two to heal, but a new type of technology introduced by researchers at the UW hopes to help people heal more quickly. Jamie Perez shares how a special Band-Aid is impacting the medical field.
Well, advancements in technology never cease to amaze us, right? We have our cell phones and cameras, tablets, even robots that are truly incredible and progress as time goes on. But one thing we might not have guessed that would enter this era of technology is our Band-Aids.
This bandage collects mechanical energy from biological body, transfer it into electric pulses, and deliver these electric pulses into injury sites to help the wound healed.
Generated by our own body motions, this bandage will accelerate wound recovery rates like you couldn't even imagine.
Compared to normal wound heals that takes 2 weeks, almost 2 weeks, our bandage helped them heal in 3 days.
The experiments so far have been tested on rats.
One is treated by our device, and the bottom one is a blank one with no electrodes, with no nanogenerator, but just a bandage.
It looks just like a bracelet. And for those that are wondering what the risks are for sending electricity through your body,
they have limited charges, and they are gentle, mild electric pulses, so they will not harm human bodies.
A technology so mind-blowing but so simple, you could make them yourself. Every material used in these can be found at a local store.
Copper, like aluminum.
If this team is successful in further experiments on pigs and eventually humans, this could help solve a major challenge in modern medicine.
We are excited about that because our group is focused on nanogenerators, and we always want to do something to make life better.
Some pretty incredible stuff there, right? Well, these are not yet available on the market for you to purchase, but they are working on getting the funding so that these can be available in stores as soon as possible. For now, reporting in Madison, I'm Jamie Perez, WISC News 3.
Researchers say the technology used in those bandages are low cost so that when they do become available in stores, they won't cost much more than a regular box of Band-Aids. There's no clear time estimate, though, as to when they'd be available for you to purchase. Well, there are tons of holiday activities taking place over the weekend. We'll tell you where you can catch a few of them, plus a police department giving back to the community it serves, one shampoo bottle or soup can at a time. How this donation will help families in Dane County for months to come.
Rain, snow, sleet, and freezing rain all possible this weekend. We'll take a look at threats and timing in your forecast in just a few minutes.
The Fitchburg Police Department is helping people in need in our community this season. Officers just wrapped up their annual collection drive. They dropped off food, cleaning supplies, and toiletries to the Allied Food Pantry today. Volunteers say this year's haul filled an entire room.
This is definitely not typical. No, this is over and above. So we really thank the Fitchburg Police Department. This is pretty amazing.
Volunteers say donations allow them to save their personal funds and that the items donated today will help last them for months. You can check out handmade Christmas gifts this weekend at several different holiday markets. Tomorrow is the Fair Trade Holiday Festival at Monona Terrace featuring 50 vendors from 40 different countries. The Goodman Community Center is hosting its Crafty Fair in the Brassworks building with unique Wisconsin-made gifts. And the Holiday Fest Arts and Crafts Fair will have handmade jewelry, baskets, pottery, and much more over at the Warner Park Recreation Center. We have details about those and all other holiday fairs in our area up on our website, channel3000.com. Your pets can even get into the holiday spirit this weekend. The Dog Den off Fish Hatchery Road hosting Santa Paws tomorrow. For just $10, you, your family, or your pet can get a portrait with old St. Nick. Proceeds from the event will go to Czar's Promise, which supports canine and human cancer research. The photos will start at 11 tomorrow. Well, let's go to Dave Caulfield, who's on the backyard patio, filling us in on the latest on what the weather has in store for us this weekend, Dave.
Yeah, Eric, hopefully not too much rain for Santa's parade tomorrow. That would be nice, but we're trying to avoid any freezing rain or any mixed precipitation because that can really be tough on travel. But this weekend, we do have the chance to see some mixed precipitation, some messy weather is possible. Doppler track showing the system in question still well off to the south and west, but moving rather quickly to the north and a little bit to the east as well. But across Wisconsin, we are still quiet. I expect us to remain quiet this evening and tonight, but tomorrow and Sunday, that becomes a little bit of a different story. Freezing rain is possible early on Saturday, and then we will start to see that precip change all to rain for most of southern Wisconsin. On Sunday, that mix gradually changes back to snow, and there's some light snow accumulations possible by the end of Sunday. So alert days in the forecast for both days this weekend. A winter weather advisory in effect for Juneau and Adams County, closer to where there could be some minor snow accumulations this weekend. I think that is well to the north and northwest of Madison, and our friends in southern Minnesota and northern Iowa have winter storm warnings in effect. Downtown Madison still a little bit foggy, a little bit eerie on the Edgewater Skycam, and that fog kept temperatures down once again today. Highs were only in the low 30s. We've really spent much of the day near 30 degrees. And over the last 4 or 5 days, temperatures have been well below normal, and that could actually play a role in what precipitation we'll see, especially on Saturday morning. So a lot of changes with a forecast like this. So here's what's changed in the near term. The start of the precipitation is slightly later. We like that. We want that because that usually means temperatures can warm up enough where we don't have to worry about freezing rain. However, Madison temperatures have been colder than forecast over the past couple of days, so our ground temperature has still remained pretty close to freezing and below freezing in many spots. So once that precipitation starts tomorrow, we could be looking at a light glaze of ice on surfaces just to start, and that could cause some travel troubles. There is a little bit more agreement in our forecast models, which we like, but sometimes they can overestimate things as well. So lots to keep in mind. Tonight, mostly cloudy, staying dry with temperatures near 30. And for tomorrow, rain, possibly some freezing rain early. Gusty winds as well. That's another thing we need to worry about 35 miles per hour at times. So future track, I want to go through this pretty slowly because there's a lot to keep in mind. Our latest future track has kind of delayed this precipitation even further, so that's good news if we don't want the freezing rain, which we really don't. But there is a chance of some freezing rain early on Saturday. Then mainly we're dealing with rain, and some of that rain could be heavy at times on Saturday. Then gradually on Sunday, we're transitioning back to all snow, and that could provide us with some minor snow accumulations. Our snow potential, our latest run, there we go. We're starting to see generally less than an inch of snow near Madison and places south, and then closer to the Dells and spots to the north and west, maybe a little bit more close to 2 to 4 inches of snow. After the alert days, we are calming down, though, into next week with temperatures staying in the 20s.
The Big Ten season begins for the Badger men's basketball team in Iowa, and it hopes history doesn't repeat itself. Stories coming up in sports. Even though it's the last day of November, the Badger men's basketball team has its first Big Ten regular season game tonight at Iowa. They'll tip just after 7 o'clock tonight in Iowa City. The Badgers have been bitten by slow starts the last couple of games. Last year's start in Iowa City was ice cold too, but Greg Gard's Badgers say they feel confident they'll do better this time, but they'd rather not have to find out.
We didn't have our best game, and they came out and smacked us in the mouth, so I feel like it's going to just learn from that and just probably watch film on that from last year and make sure we don't make those mistakes again.
That'll be a good test. I went there last year, and I know it was a good game. I mean, they battled, and they're obviously a better team this year. They got a good freshman, and McCaffrey's playing, so I mean, I think it'll be a good road test for us.
The Badger volleyball team hopes to move on to the second weekend of the NCAA tournament tonight. Wisconsin and Pepperdine have first serve just after 7 at the Fieldhouse. Last night, the Badgers disposed of Green Bay in straight sets. Wisconsin's defense was outstanding. Green Bay hit only 0.030 for the entire match. Pepperdine had a battle last night, knocking off Northern Iowa in 5 sets, so we'll see how they bounce back against Wisconsin tonight. Again, first serve at the Fieldhouse just after 7 o'clock. Lots of Badger hockey this weekend. The men's team at the Kohl Center hosting Penn State tonight and tomorrow. The women's hockey team is also home this weekend to Syracuse. Game 1 of that series tomorrow afternoon, 2 o'clock at LeBon Arena. The Packers are heavy favorites to beat the Arizona Cardinals Sunday at noon at Lambeau Field. It should be windy and either snowy or rainy for the game, which probably won't bode well for Cardinals rookie quarterback Josh Rosen. He's had 5 offensive coordinators in the last 4 years at UCLA and the NFL. He was the 3rd overall pick in last April's NFL draft, and this season has 10 touchdowns and 11 interceptions. The Packers defense should be able to harass young Josh on Sunday. Clay Matthews, say something nice about the young guy.
Not your typical rookie that, sometimes you lick your chops at. But, with that being said, he's obviously, only played a handful of games, and we got to, make sure to take advantage of that, whatever that is. But, he's done well for his, for his first year, I guess.
Iowa tight end Noah Fant leaving school after his junior season, heading into the NFL draft, and Fant won't play in Iowa's bowl game either, so he won't get hurt. Fant will go down as one of Iowa's all-time great tight ends, although he struggled through an injury-plagued season this past fall. The Big Ten football championship game is tomorrow in Indianapolis. Ohio State, the heavy favorite over Northwestern. The Wildcats started the season 1-3, then went undefeated against the Big Ten West.
We didn't want the narrative to be, the losses early in the season. Those are over with. Those are in the rearview mirror. That's why the rearview mirror is so small and the windshield so big. Let's look forward and let's change the narrative of what this team is all about and the legacy of this team.
Fitzgerald and Ohio State coach Urban Meyer posed with the Big Ten championship trophy at Lucas Oil Stadium this afternoon. It's strange not having Wisconsin there. The Badgers have been in the Big Ten football championship game 5 of its first 7 years. Usually we're getting ready to have dinner at the Marriott down in Indianapolis, but not today.
Yeah, they've been more than anybody, right?
Yeah.
That's,
Michigan's never been, so go figure.
That is crazy. All right, Jay, thank you. Final check with Dave.
Yeah, we have a chance of seeing some messy weather this weekend. Tonight, though, should be dry with temperatures near 30 and rain, possibly mixed with some freezing rain early tomorrow. After that, the rain comes in, windy, maybe even a little bit of thunder as well.
Well, we'll have more updates tonight on News 3 at 10. Thanks for joining us. Have a good evening.